some of which were among the most heavily used sites for quite some time for educational content. We're sort of getting to the end of our morning program. Before I bring up our final speakers, wanted to note a couple of things. Our afternoon meeting, our advisory committee meeting, will be in the same room, and we'll start at 1:30. Is that right, Randy?
Yes.
1:30 in this room. What?
Is it 1:30 or 2? 1:30.
1:30. And then when we break, I believe there's a lunch somewhere, but I don't.
They'd be bringing it in.
Oh, okay. I guess we can have lunch here and have an opportunity to have some informal time. So that's great.
Jennifer, would you like to say?
And yeah, Jennifer, you can bring in your lunch and and we can watch you eat.
Excellent.
Okay. All right. So our last speakers will be Jennifer and Ann Doyle from Internet2 to talk about the related effort at Internet2 in teaching and learning, which really focuses on the Internet2 member institutions and has obvious overlap with those of you who are from Internet2 member institutions. But also there are sessions that will be of interest to those of you who are representing sponsored education group participants as well. So, Ann and Jennifer?
Yes, before we break up, could I have 2 minutes to talk about FCC?
All right, so before we break up, we'll have an FCC update from Larry.
And Ann, I'm going to ask you to please use one of the microphones if you wouldn't mind.
Yes.
And Larry, I'm so glad that you're going to be the last presentation before lunch. So now I don't have to say, we're holding you up from your lunch, and so we'll be free. Larry's going to be holding you up from lunch.
I'm waving to Jennifer, but I'm at a mic now. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Ann. How are you?
Good. I'm well. And you?
I'm doing well. I see the audience and not you. So do not use verbal, nonverbal communication to gesture to me. Please just say it out loud. But,
fair enough.
Or go ahead if you want, and I'll be none the wiser.
Would you like to take the lead? Would you like me to take the lead? And
why don't I just quickly just mention that we will have our face-to-face meeting coming up this week, and unfortunately I won't be there on site, but I will be joining virtually again for that meeting, as will our co-chair Marty Siegel. He'll be joining live via video conferencing as well. We are truly using our technology here in support of these meetings when folks can't get there in person. But our meeting, the face-to-face teaching and learning SIG meeting is going to be a lunch meeting, and it'll be Wednesday from 12 to 1:15 in Napoleon D3. And we thought Ann and I would just very, very quickly give you a sense of what's on our agenda for that meeting as a little bit of a teaser to try to get many of you there if you weren't planning on attending already. So Ann, why don't I just talk a little bit about the overall agenda, and then you can jump in with some special comments on particular pieces of that. Does that work for you?
Sounds fine.
Okay. If you were on the Teaching and Learning SIG list, you saw our brief agenda, and one of the things we're going to do in the K20 initiative, and several of you all have been involved in this process as well, is to really look at the strategic plan that Internet2 has adopted and start off our meeting with a discussion around the strategic plan and the prioritization of tasks and initiatives moving forward, and kind of look to align the teaching and learning SIG activities within the context and framework of the strategic plan. So we do plan to spend a good portion of our face-to-face meeting in discussion about that. As part of that discussion, we're also going to be thinking about some of the grand challenges for teaching and learning, and Marty Siegel, our colleague in Indiana, is going to be leading this discussion. Many of you may be familiar with the grand challenges model, but Marty has posed that there are unique grand challenges for teaching and learning, and that we could begin a group articulation of what those challenges are to try to sort of see where we're going in the future. Ann is going to talk a little bit about special resources from the TeraGrid and the grid computing communities, and how we might be able to leverage some of these types of applications and collaborations within the teaching and learning context. Lots of resources there that I know, Ann, you're going to kind of get into and how we might explore that further. And then we'll have a special presentation from Margaret Corbett. And Margaret is the lead on a project called SciCenter.org. You'll hear from Margaret actually as part of the Virtual Worlds panels this week, and I'll tell you a bit about those as well. And Margaret will also talk about an upcoming workshop to be held next spring in Philadelphia on the taxonomy of virtual worlds. So we're really looking forward to hearing from Margaret about that workshop and her interest in aligning with the teaching and learning SIG in this space. So on the topic of virtual worlds, just briefly, we'll have 2 sessions, panels that are going to be co-sponsored, actually are co-sponsored by the Teaching and Learning SIG and the K20 Initiative. One Tuesday afternoon from 3 to 4, and that's Virtual Worlds, The Future is Now. And the second session will be Wednesday afternoon, 4:30 to 5:30, moderated by Randy Stout. And that one is real-world experiences in virtual reality. So you'll get 2 opportunities to hear more from the virtual worlds arena, and this is an area that we have been exploring within the SIG for some time now. So Ann, I know I've not left much detail for you to get into, but do you want to elaborate on any of those points for the meeting?
No, I think you've actually covered it, and I'm probably just being the in-person face, because that certainly covers it. I think probably just the overarching goal comment to make about that continues to be for the teaching and learning group that we try to leverage resources that we see happening in the higher ed community specifically for the purposes of teaching and learning. So one of the conversations Marty keeps bringing up is there's all these incredible science projects, access to remote instrumentations, and how can we make inroads and have, for not just research purposes, but adding teaching as a goal for accessing a telescope on top of a mountain or the Large Hadron Collider, all of which start out being developed, all the sensor beds that are being developed in the ocean floors, all of those start out as research projects, and our goal keeps being, we see things like Second Life, how can we use it for teaching? We see things in the research arena, how can we use it for teaching? And that just keeps being our overarching goal that we're driving towards. And I am humbly the staff support person. Jennifer and Marty have certainly taken this and run with it.
Well, I think, Ann, you've done a lot more than just being a staff support person. You're being a little bit modest there, but we'll let you, that's okay. And folks, I hope that you are able to attend the face-to-face meeting. It is our twice-a-year opportunity to be in person for as many of us as possible. And really, this particular meeting in New Orleans, we do plan to have a lot of open discussion in terms of the future of the SIG, as Ann has indicated. So it should be a lively discussion, and we hope you all will participate.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Sure. Thanks, folks. Any questions for us, or we'll hope to see you there?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
The teaching